Hi there, welcome back to Scale Model Jam. And today I'm back with another tutorial following on from the tire that we did last time. What we're going to do is we're going to design a wheel. I'm going to show you a very simple yet effective way to create a basic wheel that can be 3D printed off. I just want to show you how easy it is to start making these things. Obviously, once you can get the basics, your skills will grow and you can start moving on to more complex operations and stuff. Now, I'm certainly no master of Fusion 360 myself, but I can make a couple of things. I'm quite happy with my designs and I'm quite happy with my methodologies and stuff like that. But we all had to start from somewhere. Nowadays, it's very quick, it's very simple. But when you want to fine tune them, and get those fine details, that's where the time comes into it. Building the basic wheel itself is very easy. And this is what I'm going to show you. This is going to be one of 3 videos I do, all in increasingly they're going to be 3 different methodologies. We're going to start with the simplest, go to an intermediate, or what I class as an intermediate design, and then go on to a design that I would do. But I will try to point out everything that I do. I will explain why I'm doing it, and I may go backwards and forwards. I may interject with some explanations, but I just want to do it so that you understand what it is that I'm doing and why. And then once you understand that, the workflow will work with you to know, oh, I've got to do this. I need to do that as well. So this is where I kind of want to help you guys. I know what I know, and to build the things that I want to build, it worked absolutely fine for me. So the wheel that you can see on screen right now is a design that I made. This is the Advan BR1, and at first glance it looks like a complicated wheel. There's lots of different shapes and things like that, but this is a very, very easy design to make. A lot of it is made with the extrude tool, which is just here at the top left, and inside the sketch we've got different shapes and things that we can use, and most of it is done in that. So starting with a blank canvas that we have here, we will bring the horizon into view. There we go. We can see the orientation cube up here is slightly ajar to the left. What we want to do first, we want to find a wheel that we're going to design. Okay, that's the first thing we want to do because we want to use a good picture as our canvas. So if you remember going back to school, you would use tracing paper to trace over something and then color it in or draw it, whatever you wanted to do. We're going to do something very similar here. We're going to basically trace the image and design our 3D wheel based on this 2D image. Saying that, it's worth realizing that when you do make things in a smaller scale, as in 124, 112, you do have to accentuate certain things. The reason I say this is because if you took a Hot Wheels car, for example, and you blew it up to 1:1 scale, up to full size, it would look nothing like the car it's actually trying to imitate. The windows would be out of proportion, the ABC pillars would be out of proportion, the wheels would be too big, the arches too big, the doors too long, but they scale those things down because in a miniature size it looks normal. If you were to make everything the right scale at those sort of scales, much like the 64 cars and those sort of ultra detailed cars, now they look real. If you go to like Hot Wheels, they look good at the scales that they are because they represent the car that you think it is. Just keep it in mind that obviously you have to maybe make certain holes bigger and certain things smaller just to kind of balance them out a little bit. So going forward, we will keep that in mind. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define our sketch pane. We need to know how big the wheel is we're making, and we need to basically match our canvas to that size. So we're going to go up here to the left and choose create a sketch, and we can see obviously all the sketch panes up, down, left, right. We want to click on front because that's what the angle we want to use, and we're left with this sketch pane. We're going to click on that. And voila, there we are. So instantly brings us into the sketch view. We've got the grid. We know what we're doing. So the wheel that we're making is going to be 15-inch. And when I create a 15-inch wheel, the measurement I use is 17.9 millimeters in diameter. So that's what we're going to create our measurement sketch to. So I always do one of these first because it helps me align up the canvas and then I know what I'm working with. So we're going to choose the line tool up here on the left. We're going to go down to line type construction to make sure that goes blue, and we're going to click in the center here, make sure there's a square around it, and we're going to click that. We're going to click there, and we're going to shoot up here. Now obviously that's massive, so we don't want to actually put in here 17.9 because that's the diameter of the wheel. So we want to half that because we're only measuring for half the wheel from the center, if that makes sense. So half of 17.9 is 7.95, if I'm not mistaken. 7.95. And voila, and there we go. So if I just zoom into that to make it a lot bigger, and then we can see with our measurement. Now, unfortunately, my maths ain't mathing because half of 17.9 isn't 7.95, sorry. It is actually, if I double click on that, I can edit it again, 8.95. There we go. And you can see straight away, because I've edited that value, the line has increased to the size that we want it, which is great because that shows that we can change it if needed be at any point in time in the sketch. So now that is done. That's the height of half of our wheel. I'm going to click Finish Sketch, and we're going to look at importing our canvas. So I'm just going to zoom in on here. There we go, like that. Now, one thing I'm noticing, I think I'm actually in the wrong view. So I want to go down to Display Settings here. I need to be in orthographic and not perspective. I'm in perspective. Okay, orthographic. There we go. That's better. So that's what we want to do. I'm going to pause here quickly because in case you're wondering what the difference is between those two views, let's go back to the Advan. There we go. Now this is known as perspective because as you can see, the back of the wheel is smaller than the front. So that's the perspective you're looking at. If we change that to orthographic, it makes everything the same size, like a 2D image, like that. There we go. And this is the view we're designing because we want to be able to make sure that everything we're doing is exactly as it needs to be. I move the camera, everything is good here, like that. If we change that back to perspective and we change it, you can see that the actual wheel view is as if we were looking at it in 3D. There we go. We can see the full front of it there, and then as we can go to the right, we see the side of the wheel. It doesn't do that in orthographic. There we go. If we do that, the view is exactly the same both sides, and that's the difference between working in those two views. We need it to be orthographic. Let's go back to our design. I did just change that. Yes, I did. Orthographic. That's good. And now we want to insert our canvas. So before we actually physically insert the canvas, we want to make sure that the canvas we are drawing from is not on the same pane as the physical design that we're going to do. Especially when you've got your physical 3D model there and there's a canvas halfway through it, you're not going to be able to see it properly. It's going to look a bit of a mess. So what we're going to do here is create an offset pane. So the same as the 3 panes we saw down here originally. Construct offset pane, and we can see that we can choose any of these panes to offset from. We're going to choose the front one, which is that one. And you can see there's an arrow there now, so we just move that back. I'm going to go back. There we go. About 11, about 10, 11 mil. Because the wheel itself, once the wheel's done, the wheel's going to be maybe 10 mil anyway. So that's good. The canvas is going to be well away from from what we need. Right. So now we're going to get these canvas inserted. Click on Insert at the top and click on Canvas. Well, click on End Canvas, and you can see there the picture is worth 1,000 words. So we're going to click on Canvas, Insert from my computer, and I'm going to choose this image that I downloaded earlier from the interwebs. Click on Open, and now you can see it's asking us which face or which pane we want to insert that image to. So I'm not going to choose any of these 3 down here. I'm going to choose this one. Bam. And there we go. We can see the image of the wheel, and we're going to click on front here to align the image up. And we can see that it's almost perfect. So the first thing I want to do is I want to center that wheel, and then I want to spin it around. So we're going to go quite in close like that. This is going to be impossible to do on this orientation, so I'm going to use the spinning axis there, and we'll get it as much as we can. It's 35, 40 degrees. 40 is too much, 30 is a little bit too much. I'm going to change that to a 7. Maybe even a 6.5. You can see how you can actually, using these little text boxes, fine tune where you want it. So I'm going to click OK. Right, the reason why I've clicked OK and I haven't done anything else is because once you spin that axis, as you saw, the other arrows were pointing in also different axes. It wasn't the up, down, left, right. It was more of a bottom left, a top right, top left, that sort of thing. So all we need to do is to reset those canvas image controls is go back to canvas here. I'm going to open that up, right click, and then edit canvas. And you should see that everything now has reset to north, south, west, etc. And now we can use this and go in like that to try and center this a little bit. Now, I'm going to digress a little bit here because I've realized that it will be a little bit easier if I had another line along the bottom here on this first initial sketch. So for the moment, we're going to click OK to that. And we're going to go back to our first sketch down here on the history tool, on the history line. Now, if you haven't got this up already on your Fusion, it's always best to have it because it means you can go back to a couple of stages to find out, to edit things basically. And if you don't have that, just click on unsaved up here, or whatever it's called, it could be your title, and then click on Capture Design History. Mine says do not capture it because it's already down there, but you also say Capture Design History. Make sure that is on and it will stay on for anything you do after this point, even with new designs. So we're going to clear back to this sketch here, right click and edit, and I'm back to where we started here. So I'm going to get this line here, we're going to go back to line type, and I know that this bottom axis here, the red one, is exactly where we want to be. Now we don't have to worry about the size of this line, we just need to make sure that the line is there. Finish sketch, we can see our canvas is still there. We're going to right click again, edit canvas, and as you can see now we have that center line and that center line, and we can align the wheel to it. So all we need to do is move this wheel slightly across. These arrows use it depends on the zoom level, a 0.05 change. If I zoomed out a little bit further, you'll see that it becomes like a 0.1, and if I zoomed in really close like this, we're going up in increments of 0.00s. So if we zoom out a little bit, I'm actually going to use the freehand tool here, which is the square, and I'm going to pull this image to where I think the center needs to be. Now it's looking good up there. We are a little bit to the left. I think we need to spin this a little bit around, maybe this way here. So I'm going to do about a 1 degree turn. That to me looks absolutely spot on. Remember, this image is a photograph taken, so it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical. The guy could have been slightly off to the left, the right, whatever. So we're going to do the best that we can with what we've got. So I'm actually really happy with that. I do think the picture is kind of off center a little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about that. But now what we want to do, now that we've got it centered, we're going to use this tool here, the corner tool, which is basically a full expand in all directions, keeping the same ratio for the picture. Obviously, we want to get it up to that stage, which is up to about here, and that line up there, that dot, is our upper level 15.9 mil. There we go. If we zoom in, yeah, it's right on the money. However, the thing about taking canvases off the internet is that they're done in the 3D workspace. When you take your picture, it's real life. So the outside rim you can see on that wheel is going to be wider because it's closer to the camera than the inner face, which is further away and it looks more narrow. So we need to make sure that we don't create a massive double lip here that's basically half the size of the wheel. We're going to increase the size of the face a little bit and make it so that this bit is actually the edge of the wheel here, and you'll see how we're going to make that because it is only a slight double step, so we can fit 2 steps in there. I may go slightly bit further down. We can see that it's actually slightly off center now, so we're going to move that this way, and we're going to put 1 there to see how much that moves it by. Yeah, there we go. We're back on smack bang in the center. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Um, we're going to design this face here to be the proper size, and the lip is going to start on that angle there. And let's press enter. Those are now locked in. I can see that this bit here is a little bit high still. Edit canvas. Let's bring you up just an absolute touch. Yeah, let's do a 0.5, bring it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that, so I'm going to go 0.1. There we go. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you get the wheel that you want to get and you've got the sizes and everything you need. Even if you had a wheel that was slightly off center, you could still make this work as long as one part of that wheel is the size that you want it to be when you print it off. So it should be all good. Okay, the next step we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this pane here because we don't need that. That was just put there so we could put the cameras on. So top left, go to construction and just click on the eye symbol, which will then put a cross through it, and that will also hide the pane. So that is no longer needed. We've got the pane where we've got the canvas where we need it, and that's all that matters. So now we want to do is go to create sketch. We're going to choose the front pane just here, and we're going to go back up to the sketch tools, click on circle, and we're going to use the image diameter circle. Take it up to the point just there, and there we go. Press enter. Click finish sketch, and there we go. Right click on this, I'm going to hover our mouse over there, it's going to go dark grey, right click, extrude, and we're going to do this two-sided because I want to go in front of the pane by about 3 mil and behind it by another 8 mil. There we go. So there we go, the basic solid shape of our wheel. So click on front, and this is where the fun starts. So we're going to right click on this new solid that we've got here, create sketch, go back to the circle tool, back to the center, and we're going to come up to, if we're going to use this row as the very edge of the rim, and this is going to be the center face, we want to go probably about halfway between, click there, press enter, and you can see if you finish sketch, we have a new face. So we've got two different faces there. So we're going to right click, extrude, this is going to come back here like that, maybe 0.5 maybe. There we go, press enter, and you've got your first lip and still have the center solid. So we're going to right click on that new solid center face, create sketch, rinse and repeat, click the circle, click the center, bring it up to just about where you can see the start of the split rim face starting. So we're going to do about there, press enter, finish sketch, right click, extrude, going to go a bit further back like that, not too, maybe 1.5 maybe, just like that. There you go. So click on front on the orientation cube, going to right click on the new center face that we've just created, create sketch again. Like I said, this can be done many ways, but this is just a very simple tutorial about how to get the basic wheel shape. So click on circle, and now we're going to go to the very edge of the center of the center face of the wheel. Using the sketch as a good template, because we've lined it up, it looks really nice there. Click on that one, press enter, finish sketch. Right, we're going to click on that center, and we're going to extrude, but this time we're coming outwards. So we're not going to cut, which goes red. We're going to go outwards this way, but we only want to come out by maybe 1 centimeter. 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter looks good. I'm happy with that. That looks okay. It's probably a bit more, but like I said, because this is going to be literally only, it's going to be only a couple of centimeters wide it will look on point, because this is going to be one of those features that I mentioned earlier that has to be accentuated. It has to be made bigger so you can see the detail. So I'm going to click OK to that. I'm going to get rid of that canvas. And now you see we have our basic wheel shape. Now don't worry about the back for the moment. That's still a solid. We'll deal with that in a minute. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what we do next. So we're going to use the fillet tool because we want to make these curves like that. Give it a bit of a softer angle. So we're going to click on fillet. The fillet text box will come up here, and we're going to click on the plus tool. Once we've done that, we click on the lines that we want to fillet. They will turn blue. And it's all these lines that we want to change. So we're going to zoom in a bit to this so you can see it happening in real time. We're going to pull down on this arrow. There we go. I'm going to press enter. And there we have our step lip of sorts. It doesn't look too much at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to perspective. There we go. I think we've got rid of that center step a little bit too much. So that's fine. We'll go back to orthographic. We're going to right click on our feature down here, the fillet, edit feature. And you can see it's 0.35, so we're going to change that maybe to 0.3. And you can see that the curves have become a bit smaller. Let's go down to about 2.8. And okay that. Okay, it looks a little bit better, Just a tad. Okay, that's fine. So click on front. Now we need our canvas back. We need to know what we're drawing next. So what I want to do is, before we put that canvas back, we want to get around to the back here, and we want to create some space for, on the model kit, the brake discs and stuff to go. So we're going to right click on the back, create a sketch, click on circle, center the circle, and bring it out to, maybe if you go to the top there, 15.9, bring it down by about 1.5 mil. So that's going to be what, 16.4. No, a little bit more. Let's do 15.5. That sounds good. 15.5. Voila. And then this is where the fun starts. We're going to click on that, and we're going to extrude that this way. Now, as you see, what you're going to see in a minute is you're going to see that that extrusion we've got is going to interrupt, or it's going to intersect with the stuff we've done on the front. And as we do that, it's going to delete the lot. We don't want that. We don't want that in the slightest. So we're going to come back a little bit so we get our shape. There we go. We know where kind of everything is. That's good. I think I want to come forward about 0.5 mil. And we're going to click OK. So then we've got our rear barrel and our front barrel. Okay, so the next stage, let's get our canvas back. Click on that. There we go. Now we know what shapes we need to put in here. And this is where you start to see your wheel coming to life. We're going to right click on this face, and we're going to create a sketch. So what I want to do first here is I want to draw these things here. And I'm going to use the fit point spline to sketch one of these. I'm only going to do one of them because Fusion is going to do the rest of the work for us. There we go. Press enter. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. We go back to the line tool because these are fairly straight. You'll see why I'm missing out the curves in a moment. Going back to the line tool again. There we go. This is just a basic way of editing the shape. So we're going to take our fit point spline, we're going to click here, click over here, and then it's going to bend of its own accord, just like that. Now you can see those aren't the nicest curves, they're quite sharp and they don't flow when they join up here. So we're going to take one of these nodes, we're going to right click it and move, and now you can see that we can modify that curve in and out wherever we want it to be. And what I'm doing is I'm going to bring that, it's completely in line with this line down here. Okay, that, and we're going to click on that. You're going to see that again, this one is slightly higher than the surface of that line. Oops, I'm going to click on the node again. We're going to slightly bring it down so it's in line, just like that. Click on the sketch and you can see that looks now much, even though it's in blue, it looks much nicer. So I'm going to come down here, do the same again. Nope, I don't want that one. On the fit point spline, mirror is a tool that we're going to use in a moment. I'll show you how to use that. We'll just get this one done first. So click, right click, move copy. And let's see what this one's like. This one is almost bang on, but I'm going to just adjust it just a tad, just to make sure that it is where we want it. Voila. And then down here, we are going to click on that, click on that, click on that there. Now that should be fairly accurate, but as you can see, this one here is slightly out of sorts. We're going to go like that. That's going to push that back into line. This one here is bang on. Great. So that's our shape. Okay. So we're going to click on Finish Sketch. Now there's two ways to do this, because what I want to do is I want to basically right click on that when it goes blue and extrude. This is going to be my first spoke. So as I do that, it's going to cut right through and we have our first spoke and everything is fantastic. Okay, but obviously we want to do 4 of those, so I'm going to cancel that. Click on front. So we're going to double click on the line. It's going to select everything and we're going to go to create circular pattern. You can see it's already selected 6 in the text box. We need to choose the center point that it's going to rotate around, and we know that is going to be the very center of that wheel. By default, it puts in a quantity of 3, which would be great if you do a set of 3 spokes, but we're not. We're going to increase that to 4. You can see they'll now line up basically where they should do on the drawing, and we do that. And there we go. We have 4 holes. So I don't want to extrude them in sketch pane. I want to do this outside so that it's captured in our design history. So I'm going to do extrude, and we're going to click on that hole. We're going to click on that one. I'm going to click on that one. Now this isn't like Windows. Once you've chosen the tool, you can just click on as many as you want. You don't have to hold the shift key down. The only time you hold the shift key down is when you're not in a specific tool and you're doing this freehand. Okay, very important. So we're going to see here. We just want to go straight back. Out like that. Bam, press enter, and there we go. We have our holes. Now we can see that this bit here looks very thick. It's a little bit unnatural for the size of the wheel that we've got. So I'm going to just edit that by going back to the original extrude, which was done from the back of the wheel, which is, I think, that one. There we go. And we can see we've clicked on it, and we can see that is the back one. So we're going to right click it, edit feature, and we're going to come forward by about 50 mil. So we're going to put it on to 7. Okay, that looks a little bit better. It's a little bit thick, and that's only because this front face is sticking out a little bit too far again. So we can now edit that one. That's showing a 1 mil. So let us go down to about 0.7. There we go. And you can see that is now looking a lot thinner, which is exactly what we want. There we go. Another way you can check to see what the thickness here is, and if it's impacting this part of the actual script, because this, actual sketch, because this part is a bit further into the wheel. If you click on Inspect and do a curve and section analysis, section analysis, we want to choose which pane we're going to use, and we want it to be this one because we're going to do half the wheel. And there you go, and you can see that is how far the current extrude from the back has gone into that wheel there. So click OK there, and just make sure we're dead on right. We know that we can probably come forward another 3.3 mil. Edit feature, 7.3. See how that's changing? 0.4. Press enter. Good. And then in order to turn off the section analysis, just go to here to analysis and turn off the eye. And then you can see that it's looking a little bit more natural. Still got some strength in there because of the thickness, and that's good. That's how we want it. Okay, the next part of the wheel that we want to do is these center bits here. So I'm going to show you another trick, which is the mirror tool. So I'm going to click on with the pane that we want to do on, which is going to be the center pane of the actual wheel. And I'm going to draw, I'm going to click on line, I'm going to go down to line type construction because we don't want this to be part of the picture. From the center, straight up, through the center, just like that. That gives us a construction line that we need. So I'm going to then turn off construction line, zoom in a little bit, and get our fit point spline, because there's a slight curve going on fin here. Down to there, that's good. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other sketch, although we're only doing half the wheel this time. Now the reason I'm doing that this time is because we did the other one freehand, which is great and it looks fine, but it's not exactly equal on both sides. If we do the mirror tool, it will be exactly equal on both sides, which can help in the long run when you start to do your detailing. So that's going to be there, and that's going to be down there. Okay, and then okay, so that's not what we wanted. I didn't want to create a double line at the bottom. There we go. So now we're going to use the fit point spline to join in those gaps, make them a nice curve. There we go, and that definitely needs editing. Right click, move. Like that. And the bottom one, click, right click, move copy. Left click it again, move the move copy bit to the point node that we want to change. There we go. So if we just click anywhere, you can see that is now a nice curve again, which is great. Let's do the next one. So there we go, we're going to change it one more time. Yeah, just did on that line there. These nodes make things so much more easier, because I know that that curve is going to flow. There you go, and one more just down here. And that one looks pretty spot on, but we are going to change it slightly just to make it extra good. That one is nearest, damn it, so good. Okay, so we now have half of our shape and it's attached to this center line just here. So now we're going to go to create, mirror, and when the mirror text box comes up, we're going to select our objects. It's in blue. Double click on one of the lines, it will select them all. And then the mirror line is going to be the center line. And you can see straight away it fills in the other side for us. Now, like I said, don't worry that it doesn't fit the drawing itself because we're doing this to be exact to the sketches that we're putting in, not to the picture behind. The picture behind is just a template. Okay, there we go. And then we want to double click that and then double click that. Go to create, circular pattern. Center point is going to be the center. And you can see straight away it's added 3, which is great if we can do 3 spokes, but we're not, we need 4. There we go. Okay, that. And there we have our three spokes, 4 spokes, I should say. Now what we need to do now is click finish. I'm going to click on that one, and if I click on it, it's going to change it because I'm not in the specific tool, so I have to click on Shift, hold down Shift, and select all 4. I'm going to go up to the extrude tool, and we're going to punch slightly into until we get too far, so we know where the back of it is. Okay, so we're going to come down just a little bit, not too much. That's 0.5. Where does it get to the very end? Okay, so 1.2 is the very edge of this design. So we're going to come down here by about 0.3. Okay, so there's our 4 holes. Now what we also need to think about is if we just turn off these bodies and the sketches, we know that there is a slightly raised area in the center here, and these outer sections of the spokes are lower, and we can see this if we go to the picture itself. And just like that, you can see that we've got a slightly circular area here, and we've got it goes down like it's a bit of a slope around the edges, and then we've got a lower section on the outer bit. So we need to recreate that here as well. And in extrude only mode, it is quite hard, but it is doable. So what we're going to do, turn on the bodies here, turn on all the sketches here, and we're going to right click that sketch and edit sketch. So we get all 4 sketches again, and we're going to create the circle. Make sure it's on the center diameter circle. I'm going to bring this circle out to about here, not all the way in the center, because we're going to use the chamfer tool, which means that's what's going to put the slope in for us. So we need it a bit further down here so that the chamfer will increase itself by going into that space, into the center. Don't worry if you can't understand what I'm doing right here, right now. It will be made very obvious very shortly. So we've got our circle, that's great, but we don't need all of these lines. So now I'm going to bring up another tool of mine, but if you press T on your keyboard, we get the trim tool, the little X, and we're going to get rid of all of these lines that we do not need in our design. We just need that line inside the spoke so we can create the detail that we need once it's extruded. There we go. So press escape to come out of that tool and finish sketch, and we have our sketches with 2 sections in each one. We're going to click on the extrude tool, and we're going to choose 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do the outer ones first because these are the lowest points in the spoke itself. So we don't want it to go all the way through. We're just going to grab that and go straight through like we've just done there. So what's that, 0.2? Yeah, so if we bring that forward up to about 90, like that, we know there's a good 0.3 mil of material back there. Click OK. There we go. So we've got the top part of our spoke, which is great. And we're going to just get rid of the canvas for the moment because that is confusing a little bit. Go back to our sketches, because the last one we did. Just make sure that the eye is on so we can still see it. And now we're going to click on extrude again. And because we're inside the extrude tool, we don't need to hold down shift to select these things. We just click on them. And we just want to bring this one down just a tad. Just not all the way down, just a little bit, just like that. That might be too far. 0.5. 0.4, perfect. And there we go. We have our two level interior spokes just there. So we're going to hide that sketch, and we've got the basic layout of the wheel here, as you can see. So we're now going to click on modify chamfer, and then we're going to click in our model on that line just there, and we're going to choose the same line in all of the spokes, because this is the chamfer line that we want to use. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to expand it outwards at an angle, and it should make a bit of a slope. So let's try that, shall we? Right, so we've got a slope, and I don't think that looks very similar to the pictures we had earlier. I'm pretty sure the slope came out to about here, so that's not going to work. So we're going to go over to the chamfer tools here, and we're going to change that to distance and angle. So the distance is good, 0.5 mil is good. I'm just going to adjust this angle a little bit. Oh, look at that. There we go. We have our slopes pretty much just like on the actual wheel itself. Click on the front. You're going to bring the canvas back, and there we go. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create the wheel nut holes. When I'm designing these for my kits, I like to keep them the same because I create separate hubs for my kits, whether it be female or male. So I'm going to use that size measurement here. So I think that's 4.810 diameter. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to choose that face there, that's fine. Click on circle, make sure it's on center diameter circle. And we're going to do this we're going to type it in 4.810. And there it is. So that is our center hole just there. I really want to change that to a construction line because I don't want that to be part of my drawing. So I'm going to click the line. So highlighted in blue, and then I'm going to go across to here, line type, click on construction, and you see it changes it instantly to a construction line. I'm going to click off the line, and that's going to go away. So we're going to go back to circle, and I'm going to use this point here. It's going to snap, the X is going to snap directly onto that center point just there, and we're going to draw the first of the wheel nut holes. Now I usually do these at about 1.5 mil because the actual nuts themselves on the hubs are about 1.3. So 1.5, not 0.5 silly, 1.5. There you go. And that is encroaching on my center hub here on the wheel. That's fine because these lug holes and these wheel nut holes are not to scale with the actual wheel. These are to fit my hubs. So I'm quite happy with that, and it's not a problem whatsoever. So we're going to then click on that, highlight it as blue, go to create circular pattern, and we're going to choose the center point, bam, change that to 4, okay, and now we have our 4 bolt holes. But the other thing I want to do is create this center cap. We're going to bring that out a little bit. So I'm going to finish sketch, click on that, and we're going to have to click on this kind of the eclipse part of it as well, that's been cut out by the actual shape of the hub. I can't seem to grab this one very well. Let's go in a bit closer. There we go. That's it. So right click extrude, and we're going to push this straight through the whole wheel. Bam, just like that. There we have a much more wheel looking wheel. We're almost at the finish line now. All we need to do is we look at our sketch a little bit to see if we've missed anything. We're going to get rid of the bodies, and immediately I can see there's some rim bolts just here. There's only 6 of them, so that's good news. This won't take long to do. We'll bring our body back, and we're going to hover over the split rim mating surface here. We're going to right click on that and click on create sketch. There we go. We're going to create a brand new sketch number 10. Get our circle tool out. Now you can either use the circle tool here, or you can use a proper the polygon tool, but these look like circles to me, so we're going to stay with the same. We're going to come out to about there. That's fine. 0.66. There we go. Perfect. They look a little bit bigger, so what we can do is we can double click on that and change that to 0.55 or just 0.5. A little bit too small. Double click it again, 0.55. Yeah, that's good. We like that. So what I'm going to show you here, normally I would do the circular pattern tool here to copy that circle around the wheel as much as we need it, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to show you another way of doing this, and that is to create one physical solid, and then we're going to multiply that around the wheel, so you only have to do the once. So now we're going to go to finish sketch. We're going to get both sides of our circle. We're going to extrude. There we go. Yeah, that's looking good to me. That's fine. So it's only come out by 0.4 mil, so we're going to keep that like that. Now, one thing I want to check, I'm going to go back to that extrude and edit the feature, because I've told it to join. We don't want to do that just yet. We're going to do new body, and OK, and that will keep that as a separate body to the rest of the design. So now we're going to click on the top of that bolt hole, create another sketch. A lot of sketching infused and lots of sketching, but it gets it how we need it, so no complaints from me. Create polygon, inscribe polygon, and we're going to look for the center of this here, which should be a circle. There it is. And we're going to go up just by about that, like that. Now in 1/24 scale, there is a chance you are going to see this detail. So it may look minuscule, it may look like 0.5 mil or something, but you should be able to see it with a decent exposure and a decent printer. You will see this without any problems. So finish sketch. Going to right click it, and we're going to extrude inwards, just like that. There we go. We have our first bolt hole. So now we're going to click on that. We're going to choose that body. We're going to go to create pattern, circular pattern. We're going to choose the objects, which we've already got. We've chosen a body because it is a body, it's not a feature or a face. And the axis we're going to use is going to be the green one, because we want it to go around that circle. So I'm going to change that to 6. There we go. Bam. And now there we are. See, I'm going to get rid of the canvas. Now what we want to do is we've now got 8 bodies down here, 7 bodies. And most of these, as you can see if I hover over them, they are the bolt holes. So in order to join them to the rest of the wheel, we have to click on modify, combine. It's going to say the target body, which we're going to select is the wheel itself. And the tool bodies, we're just going to click on body 2, hold shift, click on body 7, it selects the lot. Don't worry about any of those details. OK that, and it all becomes one body. Now, had we not done it that way, we would have created the initial circle sketch and circle pattern that, then extruded all 6 of them, and then done another sketch on all 6 of them, and then extruded all 6 of them at the same time. So it's swinging roundabouts, whichever way you want to do it is absolutely fine. Now I'm kind of liking the look of this wheel now, so I'm going to go to front, going to click on the center face again. I'm going to create sketch, and we're just going to create a very standard center cap, just about there, like that. Going to finish sketch. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to extrude that center cap by about that, like that. But what we can do here, we don't, because obviously center caps don't look like that. They're not cylinders, they are slightly tapered. So we can change this to maybe a 5-degree taper, which means it's going to go the wrong way. And we put a minus in front of that. And there you go. So that gives us that slight angle. You can just see it just there, where it tapers it inwards. So I'm going to increase the taper angle to about 0.7 degrees. That's it. And I'm happy with that. I'm going to join that to the wheel. There we go. We're going to click on the top one. Create sketch. We're going to do another circle in the center. And we're going to just bring it up to about there. Finish sketch. Right click, extrude. We're going to just bring it down just a tad. It's probably a little bit too much because it's just a center cap. And voila, there we are. And there we have a wheel. The problem with the wheel is if we turn this sketch off, it looks too angular, which is fine because at 1/24 scale you're not going to see too many curves. However, I do like to make the wheels look fairly nice when they're in this sort of view. So we're going to try and make these edges here softer. We're going to need to use the fillet tool with this one. So I'm going to click on fillet and we're going to just double click on that. Single click, sorry, on that. All the edges that we want to join, that we want to be part of this fillet. So this is a process because you have to do every single one, every single edge, and if you miss an edge, this will not work. It will error straight away. So there we go. We've chosen all the edges that we want, and we're going to fillet, which means adding a bit of curve. There you go. So straight away that looks much nicer. So we're going to click OK to that. And we also want to do the same thing to this center holes as well. So let me just do that. I'm going to fast forward this bit. Right, so I'm a bit dubious about this corner here. I don't think this is going to work very well, but let's see what it does. So we're going to process the fillet again. Oh, it has kind of worked. That's pretty good. So we're on about 0.10 or something like that. Maybe a 15. Yeah, we like that. 15. There we go. And there, ladies and gents, is our wheel. So obviously it looks a bit lifeless, there's no color, so we're going to press on the keyboard the letter A for appearance, and the appearance control panel comes up, and we've got it selected on bodies and components because that is a body and a component, so it's the whole thing, just like that. And I want to do this silver, so we're going to look for it like a matte silver, silver polish, silver satin. Silver satin is good. We're going to drag that onto our design and therefore it's changed it to silver. Now the next one I want to do is a chrome. So I want to do this for the lip. And we've got chrome here. I'm going to have to download it just like that. Give it a few seconds. So we're going to just drag this straight away to this edge lip. We can see it selecting the whole thing. We don't want to do that. Back to faces. And there we go. We've chosen that one. So that edge is now a chrome edge, which is fine. So we're going to click on that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And we're just going to drag chrome across to them like that. And they are now all chrome. Now we know that these internal bits on the actual canvas are black, as you can see there. So we need to choose a decent black. There we go, black oxide, black enamel, glossy black. Let's try glossy black. We're still on faces. I'm going to click on all of these. Again, we're already in the tool, so therefore we don't need to keep the shift key down. Paint enamel glossy, like that. And voila, there is the wheel. However, we've got the edges to fill in as well. So give me a few seconds. I'm going to just get these done. Right, okay, we close that. And that's pretty good. Although saying that, the center cap is usually also black on these, so we're going to bring back the appearance thing again. And this time we're going to look for a black plastic. Black. Obviously, this isn't going to come out colored when we print it. However, I do like to make the pictures of the designs look as good as they can. So where is this plastic mat? There we are. So I'm going to choose faces. I'm going to choose that one. That one. And the inside one. And that one. There we go. So black plastic. And voila. And there we go. We've designed what is technically quite a complex wheel. It's not the most basic wheel you can make. We're going to change that perspective, make it look better. Yeah, look at that, beautiful. So we've created a fairly complex wheel here, just from using very basic rudimentary tools. We haven't used the rotate tool. We've only used literally sketch pane, line, circle, extrude, the fillet tool and the chamfer tool ones. You know, these are hallmarks of using Fusion. These tools will help you get almost everything done. If you've managed to follow this through and you've designed your own wheel, you know, absolutely fair play to you. Please let me know in the comments if you've managed to do that. Any feedback from you guys will help me spur on to make more videos. And if you think my instructions are too rushed or too simplified, again, let me know. You know, I'm always up for criticism. It'll make any future videos better for you guys to watch. If they're a little bit boring or something like that, just again, let me know and I'll try and crack a few jokes in the next one. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry it's winded on a little bit longer than I expected, but the next ones will get into a different type of methodology. We won't be using the extrude so much, well we will, but we'll be using the revolve tool as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment for me down in the comment section, and I will see you again soon. Take it easy.